Thom Yorke has carried a crushing despondency to numerous musical undertakings since the 90s. His tender voice is a perfect silk to the sophisticated craft of art rock connoisseurs Radiohead and glitch pop collective Atoms for Peace. His writing channels this hysteria in the fact the only honest peace you'll ever find is within yourself. This disconnect from humanity could be sold in something as rudimentary as being in a room full of idiots sucking away your energy, or rather the corner we've backed ourselves into politically and its detriment on the human condition at large. The Eraser is Thom's most prized solo LP to date. It reminds me of a pensive cyclone in its perpetually isolating pianos and ambiance. It bundles together coils of whirring drums and bass and synth arrangements that feel like a robot struggling to compute. To listen to Anima, on the other hand, is like your mind broken down, rational thoughts blocked by murk and sludge, or a lingering sickness which isn't unbearable, but persistent. Think the toss of airplane turbulence. Tensions built in knotty contortions and prickly showers of texture. Everything's enclosed in a frigid wind, which battering kick drums and brisk snares with reverb poke through. To me, it affects similar senses as some Burial Untrue type shit, just in the way it feels like being pounded to a gravelly dust and a ghost passing through you in a flash. Except maybe with slyer bass lines now and then, like the ones in Impossible Knots or I Am a Very Rude Person. However, the thing about Anima is that everything's handed to you at the forefront of the production. There isn't much magic that shines through in repeated listens, and I wish subtle shifts like dawn choruses were more common. This track revolves around this downtrodden loop that steadily unwinds as Thom moans out these lyrics that read like he's on his deathbed with a simultaneous hatred and soft spot for the rhythm of life, or how he feels he's taken apart and reinvented himself so many times he's essentially a dead end of constant change, a concept which may also play into twist, which is primarily overtaken by sprinkles of samples and bass and kicks, and when tied to the lyrics I read as the initial enchantment that comes in a relationship and believing that someone heals every ache that lives in you. But eventually that sentiment evaporates in the same way the main melody is traded over to forlorn strings and pianos, which could represent an inevitable come-down moment where you realize with this person in your life you're blocked from changing in the way you want, so you break up, after which the cycle repeats. I Am a Very Rude Person seems like an acknowledgement that the headspace you have to soak in to be an artist will always make you an alien to the outside world and even your loved ones. Its sacrificial vocals feel like decidedly closing your mind in on this darkness. Despite these peaks, I can't pretend Anima doesn't suffer from a lack of lyrical specificity elsewhere. I wouldn't say the sentiments are ingenuine in Thom's eyes, but he does kind of border on painting himself into a corner in tracks like Traffic or Impossible Knots, or Last I Heard, where Thom drills his phrase into your brain that is kind of dry and anticlimactic compared to all the ways he's articulated sorrow before. Not the News as well, although it's hard to be too bothered when the production feels like being thrown into an icy avalanche. Its guiding melody has a rhythm like a ticking time bomb, while its underlying progression builds stress to the point where strings sweep in, and the palpable passion in Thom's vocals strongly elevates it too. I really fucking love all the fluid melodies in Runway Away, especially those slippery descending pianos, and its lurking vocals and recurring pauses disconnected further from reality. It's like watching all the world's motions with an overshadowing dark blur. I'd say my last few nitpicks are that Anima could benefit from fresher combinations of instruments track by track, and the techniques used do get a bit see-through by the end. Without these, I might feel inclined to give it more than an 8, but I still dug every track individually and would call it one of my favorite albums of the year so far. So yeah, let me know what you think of Anima, and I'll see you next week with another video.